This is gonna make really cool noises. Hey!
What?
Why don't you use the paper towels that you got here?
What?
Instead of that gross, dirty rag.
Paper towels cost money and they last forever.
Yikes. So, little shop action here. It's, what's today? April 6th? 7th? You have the whole computer calendar, Jobby. 7th? 7th. So season's over. This you're gonna see in the fall, like October, September time, something around there. But going through the boost and doing some upgrades and just maintenance stuff that did not get done this past season because everything was just basically a nightmare. So we have an updated turbo compressor inlet here. We'll cover that in a little bit. We got some rails to go in the skid. Gonna do a track swap. Just kind of get it ready for next season this early, so that way that is just completely done and out of the way. The only thing I'll have to do in the fall is stud it. Everything else will pretty much be done and ready to go. So let's go over the turbo inlet thing a little bit. Okay, let's see, we can do a little bit of this here. So what we got here is a new compressor inlet for our factory boost turbo. To get right into it real quick and not really dance around things, a lot more airflow here. This is a 3-inch inlet versus the factory, I believe it's 2.5 or 2 3/8 or something around there. I'll get a measure, hold on. Yeah, factory's 2.5. So this inlet is a 3-inch. We have a bit of a different anti-surge setup machined into here. So advertised is 40% more airflow. This is the VSP or Silber turbo unit. You can buy these direct from Will up at Velocity Sled Performance or on the Silber Turbo's website. If you're running stock intake setup with the big cardboardy, felty thing, they do include a boot for that. This guy here, they send you this to go up to your factory setup there, but I'm not running that. I'm gonna continue to use my out the hood contraption, so I gotta remake everything with 3-inch, which is gonna be quite tight up in here. Even the 2.5 was a little bit of a tight fit. I'm just gonna hog stuff apart because I don't really care anymore. So we're gonna squeeze 3-inch in here. I have a new massive filter, because you always want to oversize your filter on turbo applications. The other one I was running in the past, now that we're tuned and we're kind of pushing things a little bit, is a little bit questionable on the overall size of it. So I went with a big filter. But while this inlet here is advertised at 40% increased airflow, mostly because of the bigger size, they do have, like I mentioned briefly, this revised and remachined anti-surge portion here. Aside from the airflow, the biggest thing that I'm excited about with this is just the cool noises that are gonna come with it. If any of you are familiar with the older JDM cars, like the HKS Toyota Supras and stuff, they whistled and had insane compressor surge. They use like essentially this T51R turbo. There's a company, OCD Works, that makes the T51R turbo mod, so you can basically send them any compressor cover, they'll machine it and make it sound incredible. Very similar to what we got going on here. So I'm excited to get this in and get some of those really fancy noises going on, along with the obvious increased airflow and benefit from that. But really it's the noises for me is why I'm doing this. So let's get into putting this all together, getting the plate swapped, and then fabbing up some aluminum intake pipes. I gotta make another bung for the T-map sensor, and then we'll move on to the skid and whatever else we're doing for preseason. So let's get into it. Pretty straightforward here. I'm gonna need a wrench for that inner one. These 10s are 3/8. Watch these be 3/8. Nope, 10 mil. Very loose 10 mil. Very loose 10 mil. Have that taped up, obviously, so stuff doesn't fall in there. Oh, I need a wrench. Gee, dang it. Let go. sticky O-ring, I'm guessing. See if we can get up under this little lip here. Oh yeah. Oh, I know you want to go. We're gonna scratch this shit out of this thing, but who cares? Try to get a little bit of something in there, free this O-ring up a little bit. Oh, she's thinking about it now. There we go. Yep, O-ringus. PB getting in there for a little bit helped. Oh, it has a dowel too. Weird, so you can't spin it. You gotta come straight up out, otherwise you're gonna break this little dowel off like I pretty much just about did. Dumb. So this is the first one I had done. There is a very, I don't know if I'll be able to zoom in on this, tiny little dowel here that goes back here on the compressor cover. And you do have an O-ring in here that you're gonna have to swap over to your new inlet. Not sure why this has a dowel, since there's no anti-surge or there's no orientation to this thing. I don't understand the point of that one bit. Yeah, I don't know, I guess so that their logo goes out the right way, maybe? Either way, this is what you got in here. Tiny little turbine wheel. But anyway, that's that. Yeah. I would definitely recommend, like I did, get some PB Blaster once you get your little retainers off. Spray some down there and let that soak, kind of loosen this O-ring up a little bit. Because after however many miles, she's in there pretty good. Now we're gonna go and clean this up a little bit. Yep. Well, I'm gonna go swap the O-ring on the bench, pop the new cover in, and then we're gonna get into some intake stuff and tubes and cutting things and fuck it all up. So the new plate has no spot for a dowel, so take that, throw it to trash. And then you just go and weasel this guy right in there. Look at that, boom, done. Grease on the housing, a little bit of grease on the O-ring. We are good to go. I'm going to do one of these numbers quick. I know I probably got some PB in some of these, and they had some old Loctite in them. I'm assuming they are blind holes. I did not look, don't really care. I do not have a torque spec for you guys on this. Use your judgment. They're pretty short stainless screws into a cast aluminum compressor cover, so don't go nuts. About like that. Not that you can probably tell much from that, but. Then I did use some of the orange Loctite on this. The orange is very similar to the blue, but does a little bit better with vibration stuff. Kind of been switching to that orange for quite a bit of usage. Most usages, quite a bit of whatever. Okay, plate installed. No contact, good to go. Okay, so we got our new 90 off of the scrap one I had, a little bit of an angle on it here. This guy, come on. It's right in here, real nice. Gonna have to shorten our coupler, our little straight coupler there, but that's okay. So we'll shorten that up. That'll clamp on there. It'll be a little crooked, so it's gonna try as we tighten that clamp, or the coupler rather, to straighten it up, but it's not really gonna, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. A little bit of clearancing up in here. Took a little tab off of the vent up there. Focus. And yeah, and then just gave us a little bit more clearance on this stuff up there that I'd already trimmed before. That's gonna be pretty much in the same spot as it was before. So Get the coupler, see how much we gotta trim off of that. Put this loosely together and then start trimming out the hood. Go cut this bead roll off, extend that out after the fact to get out to where I need to, a little bend, because this new filter, unfortunately, doesn't have the angled flange on it to match the line of the hood. So I'm gonna have to have probably something like this, even though this angle's not right, but you know, we'll come off of our straight with a little bit of an angle of some sort to get our filter on there to line up with the line of the hood. But we'll deal with that when we get there. Something like that. I want that to be there. So whatever that flange is, plus a little bit. Okay. So while I'm peeling this tape, might as well go over a couple things quick. The tape all over the piping so you don't scratch it. I mean, this is all pretty well scratched up already, but trying to just minimize that so it still looks decent sticking out of the hood. And then I'm doing it this way with the short and straight coupler and this 90-degree piece, because you always want to try to avoid using 90-degree silicone couplers wherever you can, especially on a suction side. If it's boost only, it's not a huge deal, but when it's suction side, a lot of them, unless you get really, really nice ones, have a tendency to collapse in on themselves. Now this is stuck on my thumb. And especially on the suction side of the turbo, that is no good. Yeah, just avoid 90-degree couplers anytime you can. Try and do it with a mandrel or a pie cut if you have to. I really don't like pie cuts either, but I'm a little picky. This is actually coming out better than I expected it to. The hood didn't really need a lot of trimming to get this through there. The side panel I'll have to do a little bit more after, but all in all, kind of flying here, getting this thing all together. We gotta go and do a couple little tack welds. Tack this together. I'm going to do up my T-map bung. So just this guy here to house your map sensor. This is the same material and everything as I did the last one, so I just got to punch that hole open, drill and tap the other for the retainer bolt, and off I go. You can buy these bungs all over the internet, but I have this. I'm just going to whip one up. Not bad at all. Bonk. It actually tightened up really good at the turbo, and it didn't try to make it all crooked and everything like I was slightly worried about. So that all came together pretty good, pretty good. And that's always been like that. Show you guys this little weasel worm process here. Move that. Something like that ought to be all right. So do a little. It came off way easier than it's going back on. I don't understand why. Close enough. Get these in. It'll be fun when it's really cold out, but it is doable, so whatever. Don't mind the dust on everything. It's tire season for Elbird. Changing tires left and right. Dusty dirt road cars. All right, there's that. Bop, bop. Bop. Definitely a big filter for a sled, but you can never have too much filter element. A little bit of red mark here I clean off with some brake clean quick, but we gotta trim this up too, because now, as you can see, that hits. Oh, something like this. With a little something like that, and we'll check it again in a bit. It looks a little bit ridiculous, but it's also kind of really cool. It's not that, well, it's a little ridiculous, but it's not, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Sick. It's definitely gonna impede the headlight a bit now, but we got the punch light, so that's okay. Ta-da! Big Snorkus on there. Full 3-inch, all the way down to the plate. Yeah, that's all done. Now I gotta move on to pulling the skid, disassembling that, swapping the rails, pulling the track out. We're gonna swap that back to the original 1.3 Cobra that came on this, the R-rated one, and throw some traditional style studs in that for next season. And then I'm repurposing the 1.5 Storm with iGrips in it onto something else. That's a different project, whole different video series, so we're not gonna touch on that. But yeah, I'll cover very quickly, very briefly, how to do all of this stuff. Most of it in terms of track swap and chain case service and all that stuff has been covered in previous videos, so feel free to scroll back and look at those. But I'll touch on it all briefly as we go through it. And yeah, just continue on with covering our preseason, end of season, preseason for this thing next season. Let's get into it.